I said, give me a hell yeah.
Welcome, wrestling fans, to a bout of epic proportions. It's time to strap on your boots, throw that title over your shoulder, and stumble to the middle of the ring for a double chokeslam from the Brothers of Discussion. In the far corner, the older, the wiser, the funnier, Mike Clang and Bang Clang. In the other corner, the younger, the quicker, the prettier, Matt, thumping and pumping Clang. Hey everybody, welcome to episode 51 of the Brothers of Discussion. We're 1 week away from our 1 year anniversary, and we decided this morning that how appropriate a year ago, our first episode of Brothers of Discussion was a Survivor Series recap show. So coming up next week, the 1 year anniversary of the Brothers of Discussion will be a Survivor Series preview.
Same show.
Right, we're going to just talk about last year's Survivor Series.
We're going to recap the 2017 Survivor Series again. Who's ready? Yeah. For those of you who didn't watch it last year, we're going to give you a preview and then a recap of the 2017 Survivor Series. Come November 17th, 2018.
I'm pretty sure we no-sold War Games last year. 'Cause we weren't sure.
Man, were we stupid.
We weren't sure what we wanted to be yet, so now we know War Games is where it's at. So actually, if we do separate episodes, that would be the 1 year anniversary. That would be even more appropriate, considering.
Let's make it special. Let's do it for War Games.
Yeah. Fuck Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Well, actually, wait. Is the 1 year anniversary? Would it be 52 weeks, or would it be on the 53rd week? Because if we're on episode 51 now, so then episode 52 is next week. You know what I'm saying? Because then we're talking.
Well, there's 365 days in a year, so I think by our 365th episode we can celebrate.
Okay, you're right, because this is daily. Let me recalculate.
Yeah. We've just been doing it really slow and going in the future.
Yeah, we record. I don't know if you guys know, we record this every day. We just release one episode a week.
You'd think we'd get a prediction right for once, you know?
Well, that's what we map it out. All right, so this is what day? We're actually recording this December 2017. And we would be talking in November.
We're really excited for Shinsuke's big push. He's got a chance at winning the Rumble, and he'll probably win the title at WrestleMania.
That's what we should do for our 1 year anniversary. Let's pretend we're a year ago.
What should have been. Yeah. 1 year ago. All our hopes and dreams are right in front of us.
Isn't that so funny? Like a year ago, I was making the argument that, of course, Shinsuke Nakamura was going to win the Royal Rumble. He was poised for a major push, and we're going to get a new WWE champion. And here we are a year later.
How wrong we were.
Shinsuke is in the what they're dubbing the mid-card champions match on Survivor Series.
They didn't call it the mid-card match, did they?
Yeah, mid-card champions match. It's not. You can't even say Intercontinental Champion versus U.S. title champ. It's just no.
Get ready to enjoy the pre-show at Survivor Series with Shinsuke Nakamura.
Well,
from Kyoto, Japan.
We do want to start the show as we always do and jump into NXT, but how is it so hard that you look at what Seth Rollins is doing with the IC title, and
you mean not defending it?
Well, I just mean to the point that he's still in the main event. Yeah, he's still holding it. He's still in the main event. I mean, when you talk about who's gonna take over for Roman Reigns,
well, Matt, he
Seth
has
Rollins
to be in the main
comes
event because we gave the belt to Brock, so we don't have our main title guy. It's not on TV.
But think, like, Shinsuke right now is even buried underneath Daniel Bryan and The Miz. Shinsuke is buried underneath a guy who wouldn't be a company man, just man up and go to Saudi Arabia. No, Shinsuke's underneath that. He's just...
You know, they call SmackDown the B show, right? The way WWE staggers it, the A show is anything Brock Lesnar, the B show is Raw, and then the C show is SmackDown. I just had that line in my head, and I thought it sounded really cool. So I wanted to get it out there.
I'm just waiting for Monday Night UFC, and then we won't have to worry about any of the guys who have trained to be pro wrestlers for their entire life. We'll just have someone come out and do the same move 8 times. They'll dominate in the ring, and then I think that's what fans of pro wrestling today love. I think they love 2-minute matches of the same move over and over and over from people that aren't pro wrestlers.
That's my favorite thing.
Yeah.
If I can say one thing, like...
No, you can't.
We're
busy, Mike.
In the Matt episode.
Mike, we're recording an episode. Wait. I can't believe...
Oh. Okay. If I may. All right. My dream, there's one man who can save the WWE. You know who that is?
I secretly want you to say Cody Rhodes.
It's like a knock-knock joke. You gotta say who.
Who is it?
Okay, let me tell you. All right. Cormier. We need him to break
Brock
piece Lesnar's of shit. Legs so bad.
Oh, I thought you meant bring...
No, not into WWE. I need him to injure him in real life so he's a vegetable and he doesn't hold the title anymore.
Mike, have you heard the rumors?
No.
And they're started by Cormier himself. He wants to also transition into being a WWE superstar.
No.
That's why I was
never
like,
gonna end.
What the... No, Mike. You can't be on board with that. No, it would be great if he absolutely destroyed Brock and knocked out... I don't know. Well, you can't really knock out his teeth because I think he just has, like, little metal, like, inserts in there instead of teeth. But... God, that would be wonderful. What is that ever going to happen? Is the UFC still trying to figure out, when to schedule? Like, all right, Brock, if you stop taking all your performance-enhancing drugs now, we can test you in April? Okay.
Brock. You can seriously buy Clean Pee on the internet. Cleanpee.com. It's a thing. Are you looking up cleanpee.com?
Yeah,
I know you're on the job market.
As Brock
I didn't know if you're like, ooh, okay.
Well, I was making a gorilla sound, but it should have been more like a monkey because he has that high-pitched voice. You know what? We're all over the board right now, and I hope that it's been somewhat entertaining. And if you want more entertainment and opinions like this, you go to bodpodcast.com. That's bodpodcast.com. You're going to find the hub.
The internet. Yep.
Use the internet. It'll be the hub for all things Brothers of Discussion. We have new links up.
Standard data charges apply.
New links up on the website. God damn it. For
new links up from the clinks up. Okay.
For Google Play, right at the top. But of course, you can always find us on SoundCloud and iTunes. Subscribe, review, help us jump on the goddamn boards for iTunes.
Spotify.
That's how we're gonna. No, Spotify already said no. They're done. But if we get reviews on iTunes, then maybe we'll get a yes.
Then we'll be coming.
Yeah. That being said, all the blogs, all the podcast episodes, if you want to find the direct source is bodpodcast.com. If you want to talk to us, find us at BOD Podcast. That's going to help you find us on Facebook and Twitter. Actually, I should have said Twitter and Facebook because usually people don't use a handle to look up things on Facebook. But either way, Brothers of Discussion on Facebook. Get the conversation started, or go through one of our daily questions I like to ask. Go ahead and answer our polls. I think I wrapped it up. I was going to make a joke about grabbing our polls, and then I decided not to. So that was the dead air for a second there.
I like playing with my Twitter handle. Let me tell you. Oh, and I forgot to hit record. I'm just kidding. I wanted to get some heal.
Oh my god. Jesus.
That was gold. You make me do that whole spiel and it didn't matter.
No, I was gonna send out just 10 minutes of me talking to myself with 40 seconds of dead silence in between. All right, well, let's jump into...
it's kind of like that Garfield without Garfield. That's what I like.
Poor Matt, he's so lonely.
Just some time for Matt to recover between Matt's thoughts, and then he answers questions that nobody posed.
Well, yeah, I'm asking
we
myself
like diving into NXT, Matt.
Yeah, let's do it. I hope you liked that at the top of our NXT discussion, I put Vic Joseph, Percy Watson, and Nigel McGuinness. So just in case...
So we stop forgetting Percy Watson's
just in case
name?
we want to mention anybody's name on the announce team, we won't forget it.
Man, you talk about the Street Profits not getting a fair game, neither does Percy Watson. Damn!
Oh, wait, let me do my Vic Joseph impression. I'm Vic Joseph. All right, that was pretty great.
Wow, that sounded like the real Vic Joseph. Okay. So, Matt... I think...
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you feel it? Can you feel it? Is Heavy Machinery finally getting their big push? Are they coming, Tucky?
I think it's not about...
It's the big brew. Is the big brew of... Heavy Machinery coffee, is it coming? Are we giving a big cleansing to the NXT Tag Team Division, Tucky? We're gonna push them out, Tucky. Well, they're coming!
For this, I think we both agree it's not about the coming. It's about the going and where this tag division's gonna be once.
Yeah. Just worm those lines in there. I like it.
I took out the... I ruined the phrase. It's not about the going. It's about the coming. But yeah, it's definitely, this tag division needs some legitimacy, and but the other part of this
somebody
too,
to start stringing some wins together. Damn it!
But and how did the Forgotten Sons live up to their name, and all of a sudden they're losing to Heavy Machinery? Like, we love Heavy Machinery, but they're not about wins. I think we've talked about that, and we're trying to come to terms with the fact that if they ever make the main roster, they're going to be a joke. They're going to be the fun team. They're going to be the team that, plays around with New Day but never beats New Day.
Those are the kind of teams that Vince McMahon likes, though. So it's not that bleak. Like Vince would never want the Forgotten Sons to become it or anything. Look at Sanity, for God's sakes. The problem is with the Forgotten Sons is their names. You got Steve Cutler, Wesley Blake, and Jackson Riker. Like, it sounds like, like a law office of Cutler, Blake, and Riker. Nope. That's why they're the Forgotten Sons. They haven't been branded correctly. With Heavy Machinery, you got Doze. His name's Otis Dozovich, and they made Doze like a memorable name. And then you got Tucky. You got Tucker Knight. He's got almost two. Like, he's got a last name and a time of day. That's his name. A last name and a time of day. Tucker and Knight.
Tucker Knight is the alias for a superhero. Like that. Like he, like if there was like the Dark Knight, but that was like the actual superhero's name and not
Tucker
Batman.
Knight.
Yeah, like.
Yes.
Oh, that's so weird that Tucker disappears every time that the Dark Knight catches a bunch of bad guys. It's
I am vengeance. I am the Tucker Knight. I am Batman.
Well, it'd have to be like a 1960s or earlier superhero when the people around the superheroes were always dumber, when the glasses were enough to trick people into thinking Clark Kent wasn't Superman. But I don't know where I'm going with that. But
Superman's
I like
part is on the left side. Yours is on the right side, Clark. Couldn't be you.
I like the idea of what the pitch is going to be once the Forgotten Sons have been in NXT for a while, like to Vince McMahon. Well, here's the thing. We've got 3 white guys. They're not very good at promos. They all have kind of scratchy voices, and they look like every other white guy on the roster. What do you think?
I'm in.
I just at least for Heavy Machinery, like, I mean, they've branded themselves out to be these big guys with these big powerful moves. Not only is the move set, match the name, they have the song. They even have like the personality matches it, where it's just it's short words. It's a lot of yelling. It's just like a big truck. It's got a simple purpose and it's very loud.
They've totally embraced that blue collar character.
Yeah.
Just kind of just meat and potatoes, literally. Like they're the meat and potatoes in their promos, in their moveset, in their the way they interact in the matches. I just want to point out one big change in this match, like as far as how Heavy Machinery gets booked, besides winning, of course.
Right.
Usually when they've gone on top, getting the pinfall, it's when they did the compactor.
Yes.
Where Doze.
I know where you're going with this already.
Yeah, he's carrying him for like a World's Strongest Slam kind of pose.
Yeah.
And then Tucker comes crashing behind him, so you get double smushed by 600 pounds. But two things that changed this week. Percy Watson's like, man, Dozovich is the strongest guy in the whole roster, which is a big deal. Because, you still want to get over guys like Lars Sullivan, the EC3s. They like giving those guys credit for being the powerhouses, but they gave Doze that honor and said he's the strongest. And in addition, this match was different because he has a finisher now.
Yep.
He won the match on his own, which... after his one-on-one bout with Ciampa, this again is helping get him over the hump.
Yeah.
It was pretty damn incredible too. So it was a pop-up power slam, world's strongest slam. Yeah. So it was kind of a little bit of Mark Henry with a little bit of Kevin Owens, and
which would be
he got the victim airborne. Like it looked really good. It wasn't just like a transition where you're kind of rolling up into his arms. Like, he tossed him up in the air, grabbed him, and then slammed him down.
Yeah.
It was pretty impressive stuff. And, I mean, he's living up to that credit that the commentary team was giving him as being the strongest guy on the roster. So, I hope they give him more opportunities to, demonstrate that.
Well, that's how they helped him pick that move, too. Because they've probably always said, Doze, you look like if Mark Henry and Kevin Owens had a baby, you'd be the result. Especially when he's wearing his little unitard. So then they're like, well, why don't we just combine those moves? It's perfect.
The one thing, I don't know if they're still, testing it out, but these guys, they've been on the roster, a couple years now.
Yeah.
They still don't have merch on WWE Shop. When I look up Heavy Machinery, it still says, did you mean anything else? I can't get a shirt. I can't get like an Omaha steak. I think Doze and Tucky should have their own like steak seasonings. Something like that. But it's
Mike,
not to be found. And it definitely connects with what you said earlier, where these guys are just kind of a goofball team. Just some faces for you to root for to get heels over. But if we're gonna start treating these guys seriously, let's get them a shirt.
Yeah,
let's get some fans out in the crowd wearing, Dozovich shirts, stakes and weights or something.
And they've definitely been trying to do their the stakes and weights and trying to get those what do you call them? Just so there's not dead air while I'm trying to think. What their moniker, their tagline, whatever. Why can't I think of what it's called? Anyway, because you got stakes and weights, they're trying to invent things to put on these T-shirts, and that's that's Heavy Machinery doing that work. That's them like, all right, if you're not gonna give us a shirt, we're gonna invent it ourselves. And I'm not trying to do the role play here with them talking to creative or anything, but at least from that perspective, they're putting in the effort themselves. But that'll be that moment. Like I 100%. That went right over my head. The Dozovich stuff. I was just like, all right, Heavy Machinery won. Good for them.
Yeah.
But I think that's the next step. I think we're gonna see it soon. I actually am a little worried for Tucker Knight now that you bring up the Doze stuff. I mean, if anything, if there was like a visual metaphor or like the imagery, Tucker Knight you fly outside of the ring, Dozovich, take over. Like,
you know what? That reminds me too. In the match, Tucky, Tucky, he actually went airborne in that match too, off the top rope. So it looked like he was trying to get himself over too, and he also did some amateur wrestling. So the Forgotten Sons, really did a favor for Heavy Machinery. Like, they made them look like $1 million. I don't think we've ever heard the words, amateur wrestling, in one of their matches. It's usually just, look how big they are. They're so big. They're big and heavy. They're machinery. They're big and heavy. And in this match, we got strongest guy on the roster and amateur background.
And
so those are terms. If those are terms where you're trying to legitimize. So it definitely makes it seem like there's hope for the future of these guys. Maybe not necessarily winning gold, but, maybe a run, like how we gave Oni and Danny, a really good takeover match, against Undisputed Era. Or I know Trent Seven and Tyler Bates, had their really short stint with the gold over Undisputed Era, but, it's just to get them over in NXT UK. But again, it got them big matches on a takeover event. So maybe this is a stepping stone, finally, for my heroes to get some more exposure on a takeover event.
Definitely.
And by God, we like going to Royal Rumbles every year. This could be the reason that we also go to Takeover Royal Rumble weekend.
We don't have tickets yet?
We don't.
Oh my God.
We gotta get on it.
They're probably sold out now. Fuck. Oh, man.
I know, when people saw Heavy Machinery go over, they're like, oh, we gotta get going! Come on!
Damn it, Mike, I thought you bought
people
tickets.
People are scrambling. Yeah, people are making homemade t-shirts with pictures of meat on them. They can't wait.
All right, well, let's drop, let's get front row seats. Let's drop a couple $100. Let's get in there.
I know. We want to be there for their first tag team victory. And their first championship victory.
NXT TakeOver Phoenix.
Yep. But that's our favorite team. We like giving these guys props because, they only get on TV, once every 3 weeks because, NXT knows how to stagger their talent.
Hey,
so you don't get oversaturated.
We nailed it with Drew McIntyre. And I think what's going on is we've got our crystal ball going. The Heavy Machinery that we've been pushing.
We're the prognosticators. Yep. We know talent when we see it,
well, son, we're live.
We're live, buddy.
Quite a talented promo delivered by Mr. Johnny Gargano, which is funny because it's just more evidence to the idea of how much easier it is to be heel than face. And not that I still don't think Johnny's going full heel. I still feel like this is leading into the next Ciampa match. Like, I feel like Johnny's more just looking out for himself. But the heelish tendencies gave Johnny the first, real good promo. Just Johnny. It's just him out there, or I guess he's in his car. Or no, he wasn't in his car. He's just got that close-up.
He was walking around with, I don't know, did he have a selfie stick? Did he get that from Tyler Breeze?
It was way too close to his face. I really hope that he was doing that by himself and there wasn't a camera crew. But there was that one moment where he took, did that picture of the sidewalk, and all of a sudden there was a big bright light behind him, and then it went away.
I know,
sidewalk there.
Yeah, if he's holding a flashlight, or he managed to be recording himself and turn on the flashlight app, I mean, that is a guy who should be making cell phone videos. That was incredible.
Yeah, he should be directing the next movie that is about webcam drama.
Yeah, absolutely.
But either way, I think, I don't know. I brought this up because it brought a lot of joy to my brainy. I was very happy watching it. I was happy that we're getting another thing that we predicted in regards to Johnny fighting Alistair and Johnny being the guy who did it, and this leading into eventually another Ciampa match. It was great. Now that I think about it, this might have been the thing to skip because there isn't much to say. Outside, it was great.
My favorite part was Johnny showing the sidewalk in the camera.
Yeah.
He's like, "Do you recognize this spot?"
Nope.
No, not really. It's a nondescript piece of cement. Are you at a flea market? Where are you, Johnny? We don't know where you are. You at a pier? Are you at a patio shop? What's happening?
Yeah.
Do you think that there should have been like a blood spot or something from Aleister Black, or like a chalk?
Yeah,
like
there should have been a chalk outline of
something?
Aleister Black. That would have been like, even if part of the promo was Johnny saying like, I did this, like, that would have been hilarious. That would have made that, I don't know, that would have made it like Chris Jericho level promo. But unfortunately, we got a view of a sidewalk that looks pretty similar to any sidewalk I've ever seen. Yeah, we needed a little context. I kind of hope that that was like the third time recording it, and they went over it and they watched it, and they're like, nobody's gonna know what the fuck this is, Johnny. I get it.
Yeah.
Like, I know what you want to do. You kind of want to remind Aleister, maybe go a little PTSD here, but
I really like that idea too of Aleister having PTSD whenever he sees like just
sidewalk.
Regular cement. Yeah.
Has the WWE ever done that? Have they, or maybe they've just like hinted at it and they haven't actually said PTSD? Not to make fun of it. I just mean that would be an interesting plot.
Yeah, they did do.
I guess like when you look back at Kane in the old days, like Kane would come out and everybody would be freaked out by him because they'd been attacked by him before. That's kind of.
Well, I think they tried to do that with Xavier Woods and Bray Wyatt. Didn't Bray Wyatt have some of his props, and Xavier would kind of stop in his tracks?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, they have.
That's not unheard of, but this is an opportunity to bring it back.
Just come out with a he comes out with a wheelbarrow and like not fresh cement, like not ready to go, just like bagged cement, and that'll be one of the weapons they get to use. Or what is this? What kind of match is this? Is this just going to be a singles match? Because I know the ladies' match is 2 out of 3, and then of course we've got the War Games match. We've got a title match. Is there anything special besides just a feud? Fist to face?
They haven't. Yeah, they haven't said anything about that. So it should just be a grudge match. Like they're just mad at each other. It's just a feud. And you're talking about for Takeover. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing yet. No crazy stipulations yet.
I have a feeling we're gonna get something because I just the Aleister Black and Gargano stuff is.
Do you feel like this is gonna be a tough match? As far as
picking a winner,
like crowd reaction.
Oh, you mean getting them hot?
As far as Johnny, well, I mean, they're two incredible talents.
Yeah.
I just mean, Aleister is face-ish, and then Johnny was face-ish, and now he's kind of being a little heelish. Do you think it's gonna be a little bit? What I wanted to do is avoid that EC3 versus Velveteen Dream match where we weren't quite sure who to root for, so you kind of just gave like a warm applause for both guys.
Yeah.
Do you think this is gonna have trouble having like a clear cut who to root for and who not to root for?
Well, I guess that's kind of where I was like my head was going with trying to pick a stipulation for this match because I mean that's gonna be tough. I think it is because when I think about it, I'm very happy that Gargano's doing what I wanted him to do, over the summer. Now he's doing that. He's really embracing this, me first kind of character. He's finally separated from his wife. Not separated, but they're finally all right. Let's go do our own things. That's fantastic.
Right.
So it makes me want to cheer and root. Like I want Gargano to win. I think. But then there's also this idea, like where does Aleister Black go if he loses his NXT title, he gets injured out in the parking lot, and then he loses to Gargano clean in just a singles match, like that. It can happen. It's not the worst thing, but I feel like there's more opportunity here to ensure that both of these guys are getting built up and the storyline continues. If there's some sort of stipulation added to it, if that doesn't happen, I feel like we're probably just going to get a DQ, and maybe this feud gets pushed into another month, which isn't the worst thing either because somehow you've got to find a way for Gargano and Ciampa to connect again at WrestleMania, and you've still got one more takeover after War Games before that happens. So I guess maybe there's a way to work it out. I don't think we should get just a straight up clean victory from either one of these guys, because this is more. It always has been. It's like for Johnny Gargano, it's never really just been about Aleister Black. It's about finding a way to become the guy that can beat Ciampa, and not just win. Like, he's looking to end Ciampa, and it's that
right,
never
finish
forget.
his feud once and for all.
Right.
Yes.
And it might turn into, let's reunite DIY, for like a month, and then that's when Gargano turns his back. Like, we get that moment of, yay, they're back, and then Gargano's just waiting for that second where he can smash Ciampa with, I don't know, a crutch or something. Like that would be that moment where they're together again, and then that weapon comes out of nowhere, and Gargano, attacks Ciampa. I'm going way too far in the future here. I'm getting way too excited.
Keep going, Matt.
All right, so then Ciampa comes out
5 years down the road, right? And they're both working at Ring of Honor again.
2 years down the road.
You bring up a good point. You need Aleister to kind of get a win, because he hasn't had a win since it's been quite a while, because he's been on the shelf for so long. But you also want to make sure that Gargano's, this dark side, I kind of like it. I kind of like being dirty. Like, you want to show that there's actual, fruit. If you're going to plant, these seeds in the evil garden, you got to, have something pay off and grow out of it. Like,
yeah.
You don't want him to lose being a good guy, but then also lose being a bad guy. He just loses all the time. So there's got to be something that, to this Johnny equation where he finds that miracle recipe for championship gold.
Yeah, and that's a fantastic point. You can't have him make this change, and then it's all, it was just, well, I mean, we just wanted to make him interesting. He still sucks at wrestling. He still can't beat anybody, but no, now he's like really aggressive about it. Like, now he's like, oh, I'm gonna super lose. Like, it has to be whatever aggressive move he makes. Like, we talk all the time about the stories in the ring. Whatever he normally does should fail, but he needs to do something extremely aggressive to get the win, or to just get away from Aleister. But I don't know if you agree with me, but maybe it's not ready. Maybe we're not ready to move away from that either. Move away from Johnny and Aleister. Maybe it's not hit that point, and this I'm gonna do air quotes for everybody. This rivalry maybe deserves a little bit more, just to ensure. I mean, a one-off. Think about that. That kind of kills it too. Like, I know I'm saying Johnny Gargano's story revolves around Ciampa, but a one-off with Aleister kind of buries Aleister a little bit.
Well, I think maybe we'll get, not at this takeover, obviously, but the next takeover, maybe that's where we'll finally get that triple threat that we were supposed to get in the summer, with Johnny, Aleister, and Ciampa. So yeah. Maybe there won't be a stipulation like you said, just so that, maybe there'll be a dirty victory where Aleister gets the win, but Johnny still comes out on top by doing something, truly evil. But if anyone can come up with it, I would give credit to these NXT writers, because they've been doing an incredible job. I think they did a really good writing job with the main event from NXT this week, where we had Velveteen Dream going up against Lars Sullivan, the Leviathan. He's Lars Sullivan. He's a Leviathan named Lars Sullivan. What a Leviathan, Lars Sullivan, Leviathan. Couple things that they knocked out there.
Yeah,
I know.
Well,
you got to breathe at some point. Especially doing a Nigel McGuinness impression. Like, I almost had it. I almost had the voice, because you can't just do a British voice. You got to do Nigel. Look at Lars Sullivan, he's a Leviathan. I think Leviathan, that's going to be my... Like, when you do an impression, you got to find a couple vowels. Leviathan. That's about as close as I can get.
That's the perfect Nigel, I think. With this, does this solidify for you the fact that Velveteen's not winning
That's okay.
this match?
I don't think his thing is not that he needs gold. Like, he is... It's like when you look back in history, I think you'd be surprised how few championship runs like Stone Cold had or Undertaker had. It's not like like even a Miz or a Jericho had, multiple like Intercontinental runs, or like a Cena and Randy Orton had multiple WWE Championship runs. But like strong character work, you don't really need the gold. And I feel like Velveteen, his whole thing is he's just going to want to be in the spotlight, taking that from Ciampa. And I think that he at least did that this night, where again he didn't get to go over Lars because of Ciampa's interference, but he still got to hit a pretty good double axe handle onto Ciampa. That Ciampa sold like a master, rolling all the way back up the ramp.
Yeah,
like he'd been run over by the boulder from Indiana Jones. But you keep both guys strong, which is something, we were worried about in the last segment. But, Velveteen still looked like a god because he was able to do the Death Valley Driver onto Lars Sullivan. He teased it once, and the crowd and myself just both kind of said, well, he put in an effort. Lars vaguely targeted Velveteen Dream's back. Okay, maybe he won't hit it. And then Velveteen still hit it at the end of the match, and it got a pretty big pop. That's a lot of beef. That's a lot of beef putting that Lars on your shoulders.
And I complain about like Rey Mysterio all the time. But because you need to do so much. But this is the type of move where it's a hell of a lot of work from Velveteen Dream. Obviously, a lot of work from Lars. A lot of core work to get that going down right. I just overall it's an incredible feat of strength for both guys, because Lars, even lifting his own body, it's a lot. Those couple tree trunks is not. It's nothing. It's nothing.
I don't know how those legs do it. That's a lot of Lars that they gotta carry around and walk around with. I agree.
Yeah, he's just speaking of cement blocks that Aleister Black should be afraid of. Like that's all Lars is. He's just 2 bags of cement. He's like 12 bags of cement just tied together with string and rope. It's just that guy's such a Leviathan.
He's a Leviathan, Lars Sullivan. What a Leviathan, Lars Sullivan is.
I feel like I should have Google searched it before I used that sentence. The story here is impressive for Velveteen. A great job for him storyline wise, in the ring, to tell that. I mean, Lars had to get the win, because we already know Velveteen's getting this match. You don't want to bury Lars, and I think we all know that Velveteen deserves this match with all the hard work he's put in. And don't forget how young Velveteen Dream is, too. Like, for him to have this much success now, to get these title matches and possibly call up in the next year, it's incredible for a guy that age. When you look at, Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne, that are, goddamn, they're so fucking good. And
I know.
They, when you actually think about it and you see the way that they're being built, I don't know if those guys are ever going to touch the main roster. So for Velveteen to get in there is fantastic. But again, to go back, I think the what do I want to say? I mean, usually we want to touch on like if there's anything controversial here or if there's any storyline going forward. And I think we want to talk more about Velveteen's future after War Games. But what's next for Velveteen Dream? If we know that Ciampa's getting the win, is Velveteen due for another feud inside NXT? Is he building up someone else? Is the King of Bros going to need someone to feud with before he gets into the North American title? Because we already know he's going with
Cassius Ohno.
Yep.
Pretty soon. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if that's the big money match. I think that's, whoever Velveteen is with, Velveteen is going to be getting, the hero's welcome.
Right.
And it sounds like they want the King of Bros to, be a babyface. The way they got the crowd doing the bro chants, and his music's kind of, a little more fun loving,
Yeah.
than by comparison like Ciampa, where it just sounds like the guitar is just kind of just dripping with blood while it's playing. Yeah, I don't know what's in the future for the Dream. He's obviously not going over on Ciampa,
Right.
because we gotta finish this story with Gargano and possibly Aleister Black. But all it is it's just another demonstration of how stacked this roster is for NXT, where it's not top heavy. It's literally, from the bottom tier all the way to the people holding the gold. There's just legitimacy. There's strong talent. There's people who make you want to watch the program. It's almost to the point where I don't know how they're gonna keep doing call-ups the way they do. Like, I know they do those systematic ones with specific dates, right? Unless you're Nikki Cross, they just throw you up on a random Tuesday.
Yeah.
But I think that too, real quick, was just because of where they were geographically. But anyway,
Well,
the problem is, like, there's already so much crowded clutter. It's almost like you just want this to be the NXT show, for a couple of years, and not call up these guys and just let them run the brand. So it's almost like, instead of considering NXT
a development,
like a minor league system, like almost just consider it like brand number 3.
And I think that's very, like, that statement it just works now. Like, you don't even need to ask anybody to believe it, because you've got so many guys on the roster in NXT that have been wrestling for years. And what's the number one T-shirt right now selling for the WWE? It's Undisputed Era T-shirts. That's easy peasy. It's like you've found a way to build up sales in a brand in something that doesn't get they get their takeover shows, but you think about all the different ways that you have to build this, and they even get to say, we built this through our own network. Like, that's the only way you can see NXT is that way.
Those bastards. Like, think about if NXT was on USA for an hour and then Monday Night Raw was on the network. I would never pay for it.
Yeah.
I give Vince money because he puts his good stuff every Wednesday at 8 p.m.
Yeah. And that's the thing too. Like, you see the stuff on Twitter pop up, is this the heyday for pro wrestling? And people, it'll be 80-20. 80-20, it'll say no. And yes is 20%. It's 80-20 because people always love, they think about their past, they look backwards. Nostalgia is always better than what we're dealing with now. But yeah. I want to be that meme. I want to be the guy sitting in the park at his desk, drinking his cup of coffee, and someone needs to convince me that right now, like, what do we have to complain about? If you hate the main roster, did I say that right? Main roster? I don't know why that felt weird on my tongue. You hate the main roster, you can ignore it completely. You could do absolutely nothing on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, sometimes Saturday.
Well, every Sunday.
And Sunday. Yeah, forget Sunday. You can just watch wrestling on Wednesday.
Yeah, Wednesday, and then only quarterly on Saturdays.
Yeah. Someone has to convince me that, even if you love the WWE and, like, I still watch Monday and Tuesday every night, so I am that guy. But who could right now tell me that it was better, in the 90s when you just had Monday Night Raw for 2 hours, and then, I don't know, SmackDown, I feel like a lot of times wasn't even a weekly thing.
You had Monday Night Raw, but then you also had the War Zone.
Okay, right. So Raw for an hour, Warzone for an hour.
Big matches happen at the Warzone. Yeah. All right, go ahead.
But you know what I'm saying, right? Like, you have all of these options that are available. Yeah, you miss
Sunday Night Heat.
And if you hate the WWE that much, you can go find Ring of Honor online. You can find New Japan. The shows are 6 months old, but you can do that. I feel like this is obviously the heyday of pro wrestling, and NXT UK being added on Wednesdays and getting 2 hours of NXT UK every week.
Yeah, I don't know how long they're going to keep that up.
I don't think too much longer, because they have their big announcement coming this upcoming Wednesday. I think that's going to be where they tell us, what's the schedule. I think that's what's going to happen. So we'll get those. That's our biggest question with NXT UK. How long am I going to get 2 hours of this on a weekly basis?
I got to see Dakota Kai twice this week. Once on NXT, and then another match on NXT UK. So I just want to say thank you, because I think Dakota Kai is a delightful wrestler. She did get to take down Tanara Conti. I don't want to go down too far the rabbit hole, because we do this every week, where we compare the rosters, we compare the programming.
Well, yeah, and keep in mind, we want to talk about, the storylines here, because we could say, good match, but nobody cares.
Yeah, that was a pretty good match. All right, yeah, we can work on our Stone Cold impressions, where everybody has a pretty good match.
Yeah.
No, I just wanted to comment on Dakota real quick, because
she flew overseas, and made it in 2 hours.
Really quickly. Yeah. She beat Tanera.
Well, she must have caught the same plane that Vic Joseph and Nigel McGuinness took to do. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that joke wasn't even.
She did like Muppet traveling with. Wait, you know what? That could be our second Indiana Jones reference of the day, where she just kind of got in the little picture of an airplane on the map and. That should be a new gimmick for Dakota. She beat the young Conti, which somehow, you know how like Dave Bautista, they changed his name to Batista?
Yeah.
I think we got to find a way to change her last name, because it's a little too close to a bad word.
Yeah.
Make it just easier to digest and easier to pronounce, like for TV. But Dakota beats the young Conti. And then in NXT UK, she opened up one of the hours, which probably should have been the main event, if you ask me. She fought Toni Storm. And I just wanted to comment, like, between those two wrestlers, Dakota and Toni, these two had, like, beautiful in-ring chemistry.
Yeah.
Like, where it already had that, like, that comfort zone where it wasn't like, all right, your turn, my turn, your turn, my turn. Where it was like you could see, the one sequence I really liked was where they kind of know each other's, like favorite move sets. Not necessarily style. I mean, like their go-to offense.
Yeah.
So Toni Storm had tossed Dakota into the corner and was running to the other corner to charge at her and hit those running knees while your opponent is prone, on their back. It's a move Sasha Banks does too, and it looks really good. Like, it looks painful. But Dakota, she had that scouted already. So as soon as Toni turned her back to get momentum into the other turnbuckle, Dakota ran up and did that kind of half lap around the ring where she runs up and kicks you in the face when you're in the turnbuckle. And it just looked doubly painful.
Yeah, it was beautiful. Like that,
because of that momentum of Toni running and then Dakota also running. So it had two, the offender and the defender, both of their speeds adding to the impact of the kick.
Well, when we talk about pro wrestling being an art and a performance art, I mean, that right there, that is everything that goes into any sort of play, any Broadway shows. You see the dancing, the choreography. That was it right there. Like, that was perfection. I mean, you talk about legitimacy.
That was Dolph Ziggler's old entrance song. I am perfection.
But
didn't think you'd get that reference, did you?
Nope.
All right, go ahead.
Well, it's just to that idea of the finesse, athleticism. You've got the power and strength in a kick like that. So you've got the physical. I can't think of the word right now, but just that physical impact of that kick. It's the definition of what pro wrestling is and what makes it great. Could all be seen in that single move. And I went back and I was working on an article while I'm watching NXT UK, And all I had to do was hear this, oh, because your eyes are going between two different things. And then that was me, like, going, what? What'd I miss? Back it up 15 seconds, watch it again, back it up 15 seconds, watch it again, back it up 15 seconds, watch it again. It's just, and you know, one of the biggest things for NXT UK for me is the crowd. I love the NXT crowd, but nothing. It's consistent, it's enthusiastic, and these guys are all, they've watched 8 hours of NXT UK programming, and it's just as hot in the final 6-man match, and of course hot for the Dakota Kai and Toni Storm match. It's 8 hours. Like, you can tell in NXT when they're filming, you know, you're on the last episode that they filmed for a whole day. Because you're fatigued. Yeah, you get Heavy Machinery and the Forgotten Sons going at it, and it's kind of like, all right, and you just get like, yes, good one, like just a light little clap, like they're done, they're spent. So they're only getting up now for the.
I mean, this crowd was hot for Dakota and Toni, like, you know, both these girls, and it happened multiple times. They were chanting Evolution. They were chanting This Is Wrestling.
Yeah.
Which, they kind of force feed that this is awesome in the States. You know, they try to feature it in a lot of commercials, like for, you know, promotional gear, or if they're, you know, trying to get you invested in the network or watching a pay-per-view, This Is Awesome chants.
Basically, things that aren't awesome are getting that chant.
Yeah, it's really cheapening the word, and then it cheapens the match, because all you're doing is just saying it for a spot, you know, instead of the match as a total.
Yeah.
So I really like the UK crowd's approach, where they just say, this is wrestling. You know, so basically, that word wrestling is a stand-in for, like, the two people fighting at the time, for a group of people, you know, reacting to wrestling, and, you know, kind of alert you to that entire experience, everything encompassed by that. This is why we watch this. You know, that's what This Is Wrestling, that's what that chant means when I watch that UK crowd say it. So I maybe I'm reading too much into it, maybe I'm giving it, you know, a little bit of meta, but it was a 10 to 12 minute match for Dakota Kai and Toni Storm that, you know, Dakota had to lose so that Toni can be the face of the franchise. Yeah, it just really made me want to invest more of my time into watching more pro wrestling instead of doing something productive with my life. So, thank you, Dakota and Toni, for doing that for me, and making me a less productive human being. So we had a couple hours of NXT UK. The two other things I wanted to touch on, and sticking with that crowd reaction that you want to give credit to, was that, you know, usually if something a little vulgar is being chanted by the crowd, the cameras will, you know, maybe they'll turn down the volume, you know, maybe pipe in some music, or, you know, have the announcers no-sell it. But when Trent Seven walked out to shut up Zach Gibson, the crowd, to the tune of Jack White's Seven Nation Army, was singing, Zach Gibson's a wanker. Zach Gibson's a wanker. And the crowd was shown singing it. Like, the camera panned around to watch wanker being chanted by, you know, a bunch of people. I don't know why they get different rules. Matt, do you have any reason, any explanation for why that's allowed?
Well, even Vic Joseph on the first hour of NXT UK, right when we got in there, they're in the middle of a match, and there's a crazy chant going on. I'll be honest, I don't know what they were saying, but Vic just talks about it, and they really wanted to bring this into, like, the idea of how hot this crowd is and how crazy they are. So they were bringing that to light. But, you know, you talk about in the domestic show in the States, where they try to ignore it, or if it's really vulgar, they just don't even want to. They don't want to.
They don't acknowledge. They don't acknowledge.
And then Vic and Nigel are talking about the chants, and they're talking about this crowd, and they're talking about what it means to the wrestlers, and then throughout.
I think this crowd's got a point. I mean, Zach Gibson is definitely a wanker.
Well, then they're talking about it during Zach Gibson's match. Is this going to distract him from getting control of his opponent? And it's just thinking like that's nuts. How distracting is this going to be for the if you hate Zach Gibson, stand up. If you hate Zach Gibson, stand up. And then then the whole crowd stands up. They're all standing. And then there was when Trent Seven comes out there and they're doing the shoes off thing. Oh, yeah. That was so great.
Yeah. Shiny head, shiny head, shiny head. I like that one too.
And they're completely letting the crowd control matches.
Like they dictated.
Yeah, they dictate the promos. I like that. That was my wording in the article that came out yesterday on bodpodcast.com. They dictate the show. They're legitimately hating the heels. They give respect to the heels, but in a fuck you kind of way, which is it's so great. Like even Zach Gibson's getting cheered, or jeered, I should say. And then in the middle of his match, he's yelling at his opponent, going, "They haven't cheered for you once. That's all about me." That was great. Then that becomes the storyline in the match.
Yeah.
It's fantastic. And it's because of how hot that crowd is. And it's becoming... I made the argument on our website, on the blog, bodpodcast.com, that they're making their own brand just by being so hot. Like, just by this crowd being itself. They're creating the NXT UK brand.
I know we kind of touched on it last week a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think having the 2 hours of UK really exemplified the difference in the presentations of the shows. Like, NXT is much more like the main roster WWE than it is like UK, in that specifically we got to see it in the main event of NXT this week, where Velveteen Dream comes out and he like screen wipes his name, does like a screen wipe gesture, and then his name appears up on the Jumbotron.
Yeah.
He kind of has the whole pomp and circumstance going to the ring, very, very methodical. He's got the glitter going, he's got his crazy pants going.
And then at NXT UK, they have to walk out with posters with their name on it.
Yeah, similarly, like Lars Sullivan has a very deliberate entrance.
Yeah.
Where he has to go up at a certain angle, and the camera has to be adjusted just so that when the spotlight hits from behind, you have, "Look at the large shadow cast by the Leviathan, Lars Sullivan." But when you go to UK, it's so low-key. Like, it's almost... Like so many of the entrance songs, it's almost like they're just so nondescript, because it's such a secondary thing. Mm-hmm. It's not at all what they're worried about. Even when people win, like, you can hear the crowd more than you can hear the actual music being pumped in. WWE is so much about the entrances. NXT is very particular with that, and then UK, it's really such a like it looks like, they put about $5,000 into it, and most of it went into getting the building. All right, we got the building. Just, do we have shirts and merch for everybody? Not really.
Yeah, right. Everybody's got an NXT UK shirt.
Yeah, we desperately got to get that figured out. Like, the good guys are wearing it. So then when, like Wolfgang and the Coffee Brothers come out, they're wearing the same shirts. It's like, whoa, are they doing like an NWO thing? Is everybody in NXT UK?
If they don't have a Coffee Brothers coffee mug by Christmas, I'm going to, I don't know.
And then if I don't have one on my shelf by the day after Christmas, I'm going to be pissed.
Oh, yeah. All right. I'll get you one.
There we go. But yeah, it's just such a, each show has its own little niche, like audience. Like, what kind of visual experience are you looking for? So WWE is just trying to be that all-purpose Disney, if you want to take Stephanie McMahon's word for it, Disney approach, where we're catering to all audiences. We want families to tune in. We're for kids, we're for old people, middle-aged people, we're for everyone. NXT is kind of for the hardcore, that 18 to 30-year-old demographic.
Yeah.
And then UK is just, man, like the real, super-duper hardcores who don't care about entrances. They're going to bingo halls. I'm waiting for the NXT UK wrestlers to come out holding sparklers because these buildings are so small you can't get fireworks in there. Walking out with an actual lighter, like a Zippo, walking out with a sparkler, something like that.
Well, that'd be more pyro than the WWE does now. So that would be a step up.
Yeah, it's very low key. Like the production value is really, small time. They don't even have a graphic behind them. They just kind of walk out from the NXT UK banner.
Yeah.
And I guess it's just exemplified by having more episodes this week consecutively. But Matt, we're hitting an hour here. Every week we try to promise that we're gonna keep these tighter. Did you want to hit anything else from NXT UK or kind of jump into the main roster garbage?
Well, let's do my silly little ad and then we'll jump in. We'll go main roster bullshit.
All right.
Hey everybody. First of all, gotta thank you. Thank you for tuning in to Brothers of Discussion. Reading that blog, following us on social media, being a member of the faction means so much to us, so truly, thank you. But as we continue to grow, we want to let you know that 75 and Woodward is back on the air. 75 and Woodward is your solution to keeping track of Detroit sports. We offer a quick look at the teams that matter most to you in the Mitten State. We give you an opportunity to stay informed and sound smart at the water cooler. 75 and Woodward will look into the biggest news in transactions, players, and games in Michigan. Count on us for Red Wings, Pistons, Lions, Tigers, Wolverine, and Spartan coverage. Look, no one has time to listen to call-in radio for sports coverage anymore. Let us find the analytics that matter to you, and we'll get you back to work. 75 and Woodward, giving you Detroit sports coverage at 70 miles an hour. All right, let's jump into this main roster bullshit.
Main roster
Bullshit!
Bullshit!
All right.
I will say this. We got, I put up the post this week of, what questions do you guys have for the Brothers of Discussion?
Yes.
Is my negative, so I said, we'll talk about crappy WWE, and I got a response that said, I don't like the negativity. You're breeding more negativity. You guys should stop. And that's me. That's more verbatim. I can't remember exactly what was said. But I wanted to bring up this topic real quick. I don't want to take a half hour talking about it, even though it could be like a 5-hour conversation. Mike, are we justified in being so negative to the WWE and its main roster stuff? Because I think we did a pretty good job of saying, yes, the WWE as a company is giving us good wrestling on Wednesdays. But that being said, I think it just highlights even more how not satisfying 3 hours on Monday is, and a little more satisfying is Tuesday, but that Monday is just it's tough work, and I would argue we got one good segment on Monday.
Yeah, I'd argue I'd say two, because okay, so we got two things we want to look at here. There were some positive segments on Raw. We do get negative, and it's just because of the, SOS, same old shit, like as far as Lesnar being the champ. Very bizarre booking as far as, Shane coming out of Saudi Arabia. We're going to go ahead and say it. Saudi Arabia is the best wrestler in the world. Utterly ridiculous. And now we're going to see Shane wrestle again at Survivor Series, which we already saw him last year, and he was like the last member for SmackDown, which I don't know who's clamoring for that. And now he's going to be part of the SmackDown, team again to battle Monday Night Raw for, television supremacy. It's just crap like that, I think. So I think that does deserve some negativity because it's distracting. Like we want to enjoy the whole show. I'm tired of, we watch NXT takeovers and they're, top to bottom, just yes, great match. And then, we got the things that get heavily promoted, that have the best wrestlers in the world, the Seth Rollinses, the AJ Styles, like those kind of people, Dolph Ziggler, like those are incredible talents. Like, can you imagine Dolph on NXT right now, the matches he would have? So I'm just saying, these guys are incredible talents, and then they got to do crap like this. Dolph's got a job out to Shane McMahon. Like, he might potentially take a pin from Shane McMahon at Survivor Series, so he goes down again. Like, true, we could be more positive, but that main roster, those things like that, where they book the people at the top the way they do, that does deserve some commentary. That should not be viewed in a positive light. It's not something where we're like, well, it's new. Let's see where this goes. No, we've been down this route. Shane McMahon is a non-wrestler. You could argue Brock Lesnar is a non-wrestler, and both of these guys are booked to close out shows. And you're gonna piss and moan about we got all these guys who aren't getting a shot, and it's because of stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know if that's selling. Like, we're not selling Shane McMahon T-shirts. Why are we giving him so much credit? It deserves some negativity, but to be fair, there were some positives. So that's why. So part two to your other question is, I know you want to talk about your man crush Drew McIntyre. I just wanted to talk about Authors of Pain. Getting their chance. They actually become
two good things that came out.
Yeah, two really strong segments, I feel. Authors of Pain took down the tag team champions. It was only Seth Rollins. Dean Ambrose did not show up to defend the belts.
That was a pretty tough victory for Authors of Pain. They
really struggled with one member of the tag champs.
I don't know how I feel about that. I get it from the Seth Rollins perspective, and you know what? You're right. You said it earlier. He is now the main event guy on Raw. He's the he's the top superstar. We found out Braun Strowman is getting buried, and who's next? It's Seth. So Seth couldn't.
Roman on the shelf. Braun can't keep up with Brock. It's gonna be Seth.
I want to get your opinion on this. Is Seth Rollins that important that you needed to bury the tag division?
In a way, yes.
Just think about what they did on SmackDown, where they had the Usos take out Daniel Bryan and AJ Styles. No matter how they won, I mean, if it was the same thing on SmackDown, then they would have just destroyed the Usos. You talk about the two best guys on SmackDown fighting just a tag team. By Raw rules, they should have destroyed them. Instead, Usos win.
I think it was kind of a tough thing to book, because you obviously need to get the belts off of Seth and Dean, because they're going to fight each other. And you need AOP to win. And I think the issue would have been if they just squashed Seth. Visually, what that does is it makes it look like, oh, they're going to be fighting again in the future. But instead, because it was kind of an even fight, even though it's kind of silly that these two monsters were in a handicap match against one man that they both outweigh by about 100 pounds. I think it's okay, because a squash would have meant that there's going to be a rematch. So to kind of do it evenly, I kind of understand where the booking was coming from. So that's my opinion on that. He did get more offense than I would have anticipated, but it just avoids a long feud. That's what it does.
And that turns me around. I'll say when I was watching it, I was just a lot of what the fucks came out of my mouth, because I was like, I get it. We like Seth Rollins, but does the tag division have to take the hit here? But you're right, and this is the best opportunity for them to just we'll just push that away.
Yep. Close the book
under the bed. Yep. This didn't even happen. Let's move on. And I don't know. It's good for Authors of Pain. I think when we talk about all the complaining we do, and you look at one of the things people complain about, it's how the Authors of Pain have been handled, and every other tag team that's joined the Raw roster after having success in NXT. Now they are the tag champions.
Is this the
do
first
any better.
NXT tag team?
I don't want to. I wish you hadn't asked that, because I have no idea.
To be champions. It wasn't the Ascension. It wasn't the Revival. It wasn't Enzo and Cass.
Did Enzo and Cass not win the tag titles?
They never won tag titles.
Oh man. What about the Vaudevillains? Did they
never won gold?
Wow. I wonder if it's just you're in NXT for so long, or you know what it was? You know what it is? It's their HR department got better. They started to figure out like who to hire, because I feel like there were a lot of drug problems. You know what I mean? Like they were just trying to fill out the NXT roster, and now that this is a place to be, you know, like now that brand was built up, now because that's always been the problem. It wasn't that these guys couldn't wrestle. There was always something on the side. They couldn't handle not being champions, so they would start fights in the back. You know, we all know what Enzo did, or at least he was accused of doing. For some reason, it just seemed too believable, so he's gone. Big Cass is a douche. It's just, maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we've basically been seeing just a couple teams play hot potato. You know, New Day, Usos, and the Bar. Yeah, we had that.
Which are all company guys. That
one NXT guy who was champ, Bo Dallas. Very briefly with Curtis Axel.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah.
And it looks bright for the tag team division. Give an actual tag team the belts, and now we can start having them feud with, get Chad Gable on TV again with Bobby Roode. You know, we can be getting the Revival on TV. Lucha House Party.
Oh boy.
I know. They're gonna need somebody strong to feud with, and that's where the Undisputed Era comes in. No. But Matt, do you want to touch on Drew McIntyre real quick?
Yeah, I not very often do we actually talk Drew McIntyre on the podcast when you think about it.
Oh jeez.
I do. I write a lot. It's true because
okay.
we always get to Raw and it's boring. I write a ton of articles about Drew, and the last one I just wrote was he's ready.
You also write a lot of poems about Drew.
Yeah, but those are never going to make it to the website.
What? Man, the people need to
Drew
read those.
Drew sees them, and he doesn't like it. What do? I gotta...
You just write another one till he likes you.
Okay, that's true. I'll start drawing pictures of him with crayon. Wrestlers seem to like that.
Draw pictures of you and him cuddling, but go ahead. You could be his championship belt, man. You could just be snug around his waist.
Wrap around him?
Yeah.
So, what I thought this Kurt Angle match was, first of all, it's quite a responsibility for Drew to make this look interesting. You've got a guy who should be retired because he's had too many broken freaking necks. And, what was funny in this match was when Drew asked Kurt Angle to look me in the eyes. And the first thought I had was, he can't. He physically can't, Drew. His neck can't turn that way. You need to lift up his body so he can look you in the eye. And that's what they did. They actually, maneuvered his torso so that he could look Drew McIntyre in the eyes. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
But the rest of that match was hold breaks, as Jonathan Coachman taught us. That's a thing. That happens in pro wrestling. I didn't know that till Coachman brought it up because he's so smart. There's a lot of hold breaks because
Kurt Angle's doing something smart there by taking a nap in the ring.
Taking a break.
He's getting some strength back. The ref was probably going to pass him a granola bar and like a couple Gatorade.
Now, if you watch here, the ref is actually gonna. He's not actually asking if Kurt Angle's okay. They're actually going over what the next segment in the match is. I don't know if you guys.
And then Drew, his arms are getting tired from that headlock, like holding it in. So his biceps are going to be exhausted. So this is brilliant by Kurt Angle.
So, where was I? Yeah, a lot of hold breaks, but this had to turn into a story for it to be interesting. So we know that Drew McIntyre is athletically gifted. We know he's physically gifted. We know that he can cut a promo, and I did my fair share of gushing about his voice that I compared to the purring engine that's pushing a boat the size of the Titanic.
Oh my god.
And I also said how sexy it is. I'm sorry, it is. Think about Brock Lesnar and the voice that he has. I said Roman Reigns, for all intents and purposes, he's got a better voice, but he's just like Fred Flintstone that's had a few extra drinks and cigarettes. Drew McIntyre has a scary, intimidating, voice that that he actually knows how to act, so it's not just him saying things. He says it with passion. He does his little looks at Dolph Ziggler and makes cracks about how shitty Ziggler is at wrestling. Like, it all works.
Yeah.
Everything he does right now is working. And the one piece that I think we just hadn't seen demonstrated, but I had all the confidence in the world, the one thing he did was take a match that had all the reason in the world to be a shit show and could have been a squash and could have been 2 minutes, and he made it a 15-minute match that really, I think, just put him on this pedestal of, yes, it is a signature victory, if you want to use the WWE wording. It's a match over a Hall of Famer, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But more importantly, when you look at what this was a guy carrying a guy who's had too many broken necks, a guy who should be retired, carrying this match for 10, 15 minutes and making it look like Kurt Angle had a chance at winning, even though, he wins with the angle lock at the end. Just top to bottom. I just, this match it could have been nothing, and it was something. And it's all Drew McIntyre. So, to wrap that whole thing up, Drew...
I don't think they were trying to necessarily, make this a real fair fight. I think they were trying to demonstrate what a monster he is. So he destroyed an American hero who won an Olympic gold medal, and he used his own finisher against him.
No, I'm not.
You
I didn't say it was a fair fight. I'm just saying. I'm talking I'm jumping outside of the realm of pro wrestling, and I'm talking. These two actors, these two performers, and it looked. We never said, why isn't this just over? I wanted more. That's what it was about. That's what Drew McIntyre demonstrated. No, they needed to finish the show out, and they did it. They accomplished that. Did they not? Did you want it to end 5 minutes before? I was on the edge of my seat. I loved it.
I was just teared up. I just wanted it to end. Kurt had enough. He's had a long career. Just end it. Just end it, Drew, you big meaty.
Yeah.
That's what I was yelling at.
They did a good job with that, too.
Just leave him alone.
So that was, that's the plea I'm making.
Kurt Angle is a star maker. Kurt Angle's
I just think at this point,
star maker.
At this point, Drew has done everything that should be required of a pro wrestler before they
are ascended into main event heaven.
Yeah, I think if and we'll know more too. If Roman Reigns is going to be gone for a long time, depending on how long. If the next 2 title defenses for Brock Lesnar are easy wins, I feel like that means, they're counting on Roman Reigns coming back. If he loses that title, which I think he should, I think maybe we just learned that Braun Strowman wasn't the right guy to hold the title.
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough booking decision. It's a little bit like giving a title to Big Show, I'd say. Because then it's just the biggest man in the company. I don't know. It's kind of tough to just keep it on a charismatic large man. Instead, he can just get by being a charismatic large man, which is how they should book Brock Lesnar.
Well, speaking of future bookings for Brock Lesnar, I think those were the only 2 good things on Raw.
That was it?
So let's
jump into SmackDown.
Well, I want to bring up our 2 SmackDown Live champions are doing fantastic work. This is another thing where we complain so much about the WWE, but now AJ Styles has held on to the WWE title for a year. Before it was just, wow, can you imagine if AJ Styles was the WWE champion?
Just for a moment. Just for a moment.
Yeah.
One whisper.
And now it looks like, so he's going to obviously not lose the title at Survivor Series.
Yes. AJ Styles is on video games. Okay?
Right.
He is on the ice cream bars. He is on the posters. He is what CM Punk never was. All right, go ahead.
Right, and that's a good name to bring up, because if he makes it past TLC,
yes,
he will be the longest reigning WWE champion in the modern era.
Outside of Pete Dunne.
He's the NXT UK champion. Or UK champion. I'm talking WWE champion.
He is the Western Europe champion.
Oh my god.
All right.
So that'll be a fact.
Hot tag. Will AJ ever catch Pete Dunne?
That depends on if Pete Dunne's ever gonna lose that title.
All right. Hot tag. Will Pete Dunne ever lose the belt?
Never.
To Tyler Bates.
I think they're gonna let him hold it on.
Will Flash Morgan
hold on to the title for like 4,000
be the
days,
standard
so
bearer
he can
for NXT UK?
take over Bruno Sammartino's records.
Well, yeah, we can't complain about how AJ's booking for sure.
But is it enough for him to just be that champion for a year if he's just going to get squashed by Brock Lesnar
Again.
at Survivor Series?
Well, he did get offense in last time.
He did.
Not a lot of people are allowed to do that.
I would make the argument.
Braun Strowman.
I would make the argument that it's something that could at least help us believe AJ has a shot.
I think AJ has a shot because I think Braun Strowman's gonna interfere.
Oh, okay. Well,
potentially, but maybe not because he's already in the Survivor Series match. So AJ's gonna lose again. But man, what a fight he put up! And then he took 3 F5s and bloodied his face and broke his arm. And now he's on the shelf. And Brock Lesnar is the double champ. Yeah. That's me being in the WWE riding room. I think that it writes itself, and then Brock interferes in the Intercontinental U.S. match and declares it a title bout. And then he stacks all 3 guys in a pile and pins them and becomes the first ever 4-belt champion. And then he interferes in the tag team match and pins all 4 of them. All right, I'm done. I'm sorry. I'm just
that song is going on the new Brothers of Discussion album. That's $4.99 on iTunes.
Are we gonna start opening the show with that?
Yeah.
It's our new entrance song. Brock Lesnar, booking Brock Lesnar, a single by Michael. Okay.
So this is what I was leading up to.
Right.
Was this question of do we need an AJ Styles or Becky Lynch victory? Because what does it say if Ronda Rousey and Brock Lesnar both get the win at Survivor Series?
I think what it says is we don't give a fuck about wrestlers. We want to be on ESPN so bad. It's the only way our dicks get hard. And if Becky Lynch wins...
I think this is a quote from Stephanie
Our
McMahon,
dicks will
right?
retract. Yes.
This is from the Disney interview. But go ahead.
Yes, we're rebranding because we're going to be bigger than Disney, okay? We're going to rebrand the WWE Network. We know Disney's coming out with Disney Plus. We are going to be WWE Network. Get ready for this. Plus. So watch out, Bob Iger. We're coming for you. All right.
You have Star Wars and Marvel. Well, we have
Trent
205
7.
Live.
Boom.
Oh, I was gonna do the brands there.
We have Mustafa Ali.
You may dominate the entertainment segments that the entire world loves.
But
we have
just bought
a corner
the
of
TNA
the Southern
archive, and we're going to show AJ Styles with short hair. Your move. Your move, Bob.
That show was #1 on Pop TV for like 3 straight months.
3 months.
The audience that...
There was literally an audience
in
attendance. There was 7 to 10 people every night for like a month.
I don't care.
What do you bring to the table?
The people that watch your programming don't even know what Pop TV is. I don't care about that. We don't care.
You know what Pop is short for? Popular. Mm-hmm. Were you ever popular? I don't think so.
You know what Disney's short for? Disney sucks.
Ooh. Yeah.
That's Stephanie talking. It's not me. I love Disney. I'm drinking out of my porg mug right now.
Oh, good choice. Yeah, that's absurd. But anyway, do either of them need a victory between AJ and Becky?
Like, can't they just give us one? Like, please? So, my argument for Becky here to win is we could still say Ronda is green. You know, she's new. She's only put down Alexa and Abella. She put down Nikki, and we all can say with confidence
we've all put down Nikki.
Win. They win with their heel tactics. They're not, superstar pro wrestlers.
Right.
So we can make that argument. Like, it'll be fine if Ronda loses. Her whole legacy is not tarnished after a loss to Becky. And then for Brock, what the fuck does he need another win for? God damn it.
I know. I know.
I'm gonna do the Nikki Cross theme song. In a second.
We're gonna dive into that a little bit. We gotta dive into that too with the Survivor Series preview, because we're already almost pushing an hour and a half here. But to do a hot tag answer for you, Matt, I would say, I think you and I need a victory. Does WWE care about either of them winning? No, they don't.
I feel like they're just gonna say, well, they're still champion. What are you bitching about?
That ought to stop some of your bitching.
Look, SmackDown's a strong show. That's why Shane McMahon got the pin to ensure that they got over in the Survivor Series men's matchup.
Oh my god.
Can you believe this? It's just down to Shane McMahon against all 5 Raw superstars.
Oh, double pin on Drew and Dolph. What a move!
Drew McIntyre hasn't lost a match since getting called up. It's Drew McIntyre versus Shane McMahon. Oh, damn it.
I wish that Shane could get called into NXT and that he could do 2 things. He could end the streak of Pete Dunne, become the UK champion, and then I also want him to end the streak of Bianca Belair by putting a wig on and super kicking her to the moon. Well, Matt,
yep.
We try not to be negative. It's just that it looks like the writing's on the wall. Becky has been dominating the promo work against Ronda, especially on social media, calling her Stan from the Eminem hit Stan, with the obsessive writing about her. So Becky has these promos now where she's just like, Siri, who's my Stan? And then she'll show all the ridiculous Instagram posts that Ronda puts up that aren't funny. And then you're gonna have AJ and Brock. Brock literally does not lose. I don't know how he lost to Roman, to be honest. It's gonna happen. You're gonna see 2 losses, and in addition, Monday Night Raw, we're gonna have the Authors of Pain lose their first big match. No. So what is SmackDown gonna do? They're gonna turn to Shane fucking McMahon. SmackDown loses a stupid Survivor Series. Okay, we're getting into it, but oh god. Okay. Just be prepared, Matt. Just be prepared for a really angry preview and then a really angry review of SmackDown's demise come Survivor Series. But you know what? It's okay. You know what? You know what?
Anniversary.
We're getting Velveteen Dream in a title match. Heavy Machinery is getting booked for tag team victories. Undisputed Area.
UK.
Yep, we got UK. You know what? It's okay. Just breathe.
I like that. I feel like NXT is the undisputed area.
We gave Saudi Arabia a lot of crap. We gave them a lot of crap for them giving WWE money. Hold on. You know what? Yeah. We want a mega card. You know what? I want to see fucking Hulk Hogan. You know what? I want to see You know what? It's not enough for me to see those 2, Undertaker and Hulk Hogan. I want Shawn Michaels out of retirement. That's what I want. Okay? Make it happen. So now, the only way WWE is going to give us what we want is if we give them money. You know what? You want some happy booking? Watch WWE Network. And you know what? That's what I'm doing. So, I don't pay for Raw and SmackDown. I just watch it free on YouTube. So that's what I get. I get the exact quality that I paid for. So shame on me.
Oh, man. This is such a sad note to end on.
Shame on us.
Let's do this. I'm going to give a quick shout out to everybody that threw out a comment on my Who Has a Question.
Yes.
It was Chris M. brought up the negativity for the WWE. So, Chris, you pretty much got a 20-minute answer.
Yes.
Eduardo, who loves sending us stuff, He just said, I'm really disappointed that I don't really care what the WWE is going to do at Survivor Series or any other pay-per-view. Which is funny because that is the negativity that we bred. Because that's Chris M's problem.
Yep.
It is a statement like that following our question about the crappy WWE. So, Eduardo, we'll just say this. I hope we it wasn't really a question, but I hope we brought up some thing to care about with the WWE where it's NXT and NXT UK. And then, Mike, I just wanted to throw this one out there because I read it yesterday and I saved it. Jeff O, he said, is it acceptable to unload on anybody you want in the business? So I don't know how to interpret that. So I'm going to say, Jeff, you should not unload.
Without consent.
Unload. Yeah, without consent, no. It's not okay, Jeff.
Can you unload on yourself to the thought of whoever you want? In the privacy of your own bedroom, yes, you may.
Yes.
Now, how many times has Matt unloaded to Drew McIntyre?
Oh, God. I don't know if it's countable. Because sometimes, you know, like how some singers...
Matt, gotta kind of wrap it up, too.
All right, let's wrap it up. All right, thanks, everybody. For tuning in. You won't get to hear my description.
That's our teaser for next week. We're going to tell you how many times Matt has unloaded to Drew McIntyre.
All right, thanks, everybody.
All right. Well, come in. All right, bye.
Bye.